Hi there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, Worldwide TV Network, iTube 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, and WomenOnTV.tv. And coming up November 17th, we start all of our stuff on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google, Spotify, Roku, Apple TV, Comcast. Am I leaving out anything? I don't know. I think I got everything. But the thing about this, what makes it special, we are at 6.2 million views and counting right now a day. Scott, the last time you were on, we were at 4.2 million views. See how much we've grown? And then
congratulations, buddy.
Come on, we'll be at 10 million. That's not the goal between now and the end to get to 10 million. However, this is who we got. We had him in the studio. I hope he loved our studio, our new hideaway, because we always want to have him and everybody come back. The one and only Scott Page. So we're thinking
fantastic.
We're thinking of Super, and we're thinking of Total, and we think
the crowd roars.
Think experience, which is most important because it's all
there you go.
It's all about technology. Scott, how did you like the studio that we had? And obviously you love the elliptical hand sanitizer, so I'm going to make sure I get a bunch of that for you.
Oh, listen, first of all, great studio, great place. Cool. We're going to end up using the place too, because it's fantastic. We talked to your partner about it. It's a really great studio, totally set up right in. I love it because it's like 15 minutes from where I live, which is perfect. So yeah, no, great job. Very exciting. And you know, it's interesting is I love the business model over there. Hi there. I see peeps. I see a person.
And
hello, person.
Scott, this is Jessica out of Tennessee.
Hi, Jessica. Nice to meet you.
Hi. So nice
meeting
to
you.
meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
How are you?
Good. We were just talking about the new studio, wonderful place. And I know that girl too. Hi there. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Excellent.
Hey,
Excellent.
Terri.
Hello.
Well, now Brian, we look good now. Right? We look good now. We look like we're legitimate, right?
Hey, Scott, with your hair, I will never look as good as you in your hair.
I have to agree with that, Brian. I'm sorry. It's true.
Oh, the old haircut. Right? You used to have that giant mullet like this, you know, I don't know, goofy back in the day, right?
So Jessica
They're
and
coming back.
Terri,
The mullets are coming back.
I knew there's going to be
mullets are not. What did you say? Mullets are coming back?
I don't know. It's like so funny. I look back at all those pictures, you know, because I had one that was, my hair was down past my butt, right? And I had this crazy, so early days, right? So I had that haircut. Now I look back, I go, what was I thinking?
I mean, I've seen some artists recently that are rocking the short sides. It's almost like the flock of seagulls look. They've got the short sides and they've got some at the top and some at the back. I've seen it.
That doesn't need to come back, Jessica. That was horrible then.
I'm not saying that it needs to come back. I'm saying I've seen other people rocking it. So
just because you've seen it doesn't mean it should be there.
That's right.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah. It was so funny though. It was like when I had that haircut, you know, I had long hair like that for years and years and years. And I'll never forget the day that I finally went in. Loxa loved it. We cut it off. It was this thing and I gave it away. I came back and the first day I took a shower, I went, what was I thinking? All those years, like hours of like drying it and braiding it and all that goofy stuff. Like it dried, it was like done in 2 minutes. I was rocking. It was fantastic.
You were committed.
Well, I remember the days of what I was, you know, I'm gonna date myself, but the curly perms. Ooh. Yeah, like the little poodle perm, the poofy hair. I was like, what was I thinking? And then all the Aquanet I went through.
Oh, yeah.
My hair was out to here with glasses, with braces. It was awesome.
Yeah, just I had hair, curly hair, braces. Yeah, let's go back to that look.
Oh yeah. I'm actually trying to find something here if I can find it, but go ahead. We'll just keep talking while I.
So Terri and Jessica, Scott likes the studio. He says he's going to come back. And Terri, he loves the elliptical hand sanitizer, right?
Oh, that stuff is fantastic.
Isn't it awesome?
It's crazy cool stuff. That stuff. I mean, it's you know, what's interesting is I want to use it because it makes my hands so soft.
Yeah.
Which is really
Smells
interesting.
good.
My hands feel great. It's fantastic. It's really good. It's definitely, there's nothing like it. I think it's the best stuff I've seen out there for sure.
Now you know why I had it for 5 years, because Terri was there when we found him. And like I said, we'll make sure that you get some, Scott, because I want to make sure that it's always in the studio because we want great stuff like that too.
Yeah. So there you can kind of see, here, I'll hold it up. You can see the wacky mullet, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Wow.
lie.
That was
cool
a
picture,
that was a short picture. There was one actually when I played with Spinal Tap. You remember Spinal Tap, the movie?
Yes,
That I did?
yes, I love
played
Spinal
with those
Tap.
guys at Radio City Music Hall, and they have a picture, and it goes, oh, it was like way past my butt. I couldn't believe it. Crazy hair. Anyway, enough hair. Enough hair talk.
All right, Jessica, you get the first question. Go.
Why, thank you, Brian. I was hoping you would say that. Actually, I wanted to, before I got into my questions, Scott, I have a few peeps that would like to say hello to you and just kind of offer their thoughts on you. So the first one is Eileen Shapiro, one of our friends of the show.
Oh, I love her.
And she wanted to say for you, she said, Scott is the most brilliant and kindest bestie in life, and I love him and his energy more than life itself. So
that's so
that
nice.
should make you feel
Listen,
pretty
Eileen
awesome.
is one of the, I mean, she's really a very unique individual. There's not anybody I know that doesn't love her. It's like funny, I call her the rock therapist, right? Because I'm telling you, all my music buddies that she's been doing, they call her up all the time. They're texting her all the time because she just helps everybody. She's one of the kindest, nicest people I've ever met. I mean, I truly, she is one of my all-time favorite people I've ever met. She's great. Such a powerful, joyful, positive spirit. And I love the fact that all the interviews she's written, she says she's never written anything negative ever in any one of her posts for years. And so, yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to meeting her in person. Yeah, she and I have done some interviews together, and we've chatted a little bit online. So I am looking forward to finally giving her a big old hug whenever I can.
You will.
You know, whenever it's safe.
Yeah, when it's soon, please.
Yes. And then also, second friend who actually had hoped to be here today and she wasn't able to make it is Sherry Nelson.
Oh, I love Sherry.
Yes. And she says, I believe Scott Page to be one of the greatest minds of our time. He sees things years ahead of anyone else, and his think experience will be groundbreaking. And I absolutely agree with her. That's a little shout out from Sherry as well for you.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. That is really kind. I mean, I'm like, it's kind of trippy to say something like a great mind, I just try to think, right? That's all I can do. Or actually I try not to think. That's really where the juice really comes in, but that's another story.
Well, yeah, that's where it becomes all natural and genuine and organic. And I hope that's where other people try to gear their minds to as well. If you get too caught up in it, you lose you, right?
Oh, I mean, the bottom line is that when you're lost in thought, you're asleep. And really, it's really flipping from being that thinker to the watcher, where you change your point of view, and you really realize that you're not that thinker. You're actually that person watching, that really makes the decisions, because the mind is incapable of knowing truth from falsehood. It really takes something else to, that consciousness basically to really define, that's really who you are. And so that awakening needs to really happen on the planet these days, because there's a lot of people asleep. And I don't mean woke. The woke word that's not the kind of, that's a pointer to say, maybe I might be asleep. Because the woke world is a little bit too much. But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother show. Totally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Sherry. Love you, Sherry. Hope to see you after this one of these days, Sherry. We haven't seen you in a long time with this COVID thing, right? Can't you believe it? It's almost been a year. We're like moving into a year, 9 months, 10 months of this. Now, does it feel like to you guys that it's just like you blinked and this whole time went by and it's hard to believe 9 months or whatever, almost 10 months have gone by?
I feel like I've been in a dream that I can't wake up from, because sometimes I'm so, this can't be reality. And it's just, I don't want to make anything political. I just want to say that everything is so crazy. Doesn't matter. I don't even care like where you are on the spectrum, left, right, whatever. It's just all craziness. And it's just every day I just feel like, I don't know. I just don't understand people. I really think that people that I thought were somebody else have turned into other people. I've just seen a lot of people become angry. It's just, I don't know if they really were like this before, or it's just that this is bringing out the worst of them. Some people have brought in the best of them, but it's unbelievable.
It's fascinating. And I think if anybody listening, I don't know if you've seen Social Dilemma.
I want to see that. We talked about that in the studio.
Everybody must, I'm telling you, this is not you must go see that, because that will explain to you a lot about exactly what you're talking about, because you're
Mhm.
seeing this division. And it goes back to the fact that the mind is incapable of knowing truth from falsehood. And if it's pounded every day, it can
Mhm.
change behaviors. And if you, once you watch that movie and you start realizing how all those algorithms and what's going on and how you're actually being driven
Programmed.
and programmed basically, and, you know, free thinking is going away. Now we would say that, oh, that's not true, but all you have to do is look around you now and you go, doesn't make any sense. While these friends, they're like fighting at a level we never had this before. What's causing all this? And I think we need to look at the root of it. And I really believe that it has to do with a lot with what's being pumped through here. And remember, once they start understanding about you, your data, the things you do, you just start getting fed information. And it's amazing. It's like free thinking has gone away. People can't free think anymore, right? You can't, it's what's really amazing is you can actually take something that is like, this is a phone, factual, right? It's a phone. You put it in front of them, they'll say, no way. No way. I don't care. Those facts don't matter. That's not a phone. That's a lie. And you're like, huh? How can you take this real data that you can actually see and turn it around and say, no, it's not there. So it's actually a very, I mean, that's, to me, is probably one of the most scary things that is going on in society right now, is how we're seeing the behavioral change through behavioral science. And I'll tell everybody else out there, there's a documentary out there. It's called Century of the Self. And it's a beautifully done documentary. Once you start to watch it, you'll be hooked. It was done by the BBC, and it's all by a guy named Edward Bernays. Have you ever heard of Edward Bernays?
I have.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Bernays was the father of kind of a behavioral science in the marketing world. He took the word propaganda and turned it into PR.
Yep.
And it was him, along with Sigmund Freud, that learned how to control behaviors to control crowds. And he was part of all these incredible, massive campaigns of women to smoke and car things and all this stuff, where they realized how they could take people and manipulate them without them really knowing it. So when you watch that thing and then you say, wait a minute, now we have this, and then you go scratch your head, why is everybody so up? You start going, well, there's something going on. So please, everybody out there, please, for yourself, for your kids, it's really important for the kids to understand what's happening every time they open up their social networks and these things, every bit. I mean, just the scrolling, every time it stops, it's watching you, it's behaving, it's reading. If you don't have something, it sends you something to keep your interest, because their whole idea is it wants to keep you on this device all the time. And when I'm seeing my friends, I go out, went with a buddy, his two kids are in the back. They don't even talk. They text in the back seat of the car. And you're like, what is going on? So Social Dilemma, please go watch that, everybody. I think it'll make people start to realize a little more on what's going on.
Is that on Netflix or Amazon Prime?
It's on
Netflix.
I saw it on Netflix.
Okay.
Scott,
very
each time I
important
see
subject.
you now, I'm going to have a couple movies for you. So your next two documentaries that you have to see is the one on her.
Okay.
Very good, directed by John Sonfeld. When we
what's it called?
It's called Herb Albert.
Oh, Herb Albert. I love Herb Albert.
It's a great documentary.
Actually, Herb Albert, I can't wait to see it, because, you know, it was really what made me become a musician was Herb Albert. When I remember the first thing I studied, you know, I was playing trumpet as a kid, and then all of a sudden a hit record on pop comes out, you know, The Lonely Bull, da, 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 da. Herb Albert. He basically became a pop star, first trumpet player that I'd seen do that. And because of that, I said, okay, I'm going to be a musician. So it was very interesting. So Herb Albert, wonderful, wonderful guy. I actually knew David, his partner,
Jerry Moss.
Not David Moss.
Jerry Moss.
Jerry Moss. Jerry, yes. Back in the day, because we used to do work a lot with them in the old days. Yeah, but yeah, I want to see that documentary. It sounds great.
And then the next one will be, we went through this, but it's actually Social Distance, 8 episodes of 22 minutes, and it's what people were going through. It's very, very good.
Oh, okay.
The documentary is called Social Distance?
No, it's actually real life stuff that people went through on Netflix. It's really good.
Wow.
And it's called Social Distance?
It's called Social Distance, yes, on Netflix. It's really.
I got one more to throw in. One more that everybody has to see. It's incredible. It's called My Octopus Teacher.
Yep.
Have you seen that yet or heard about
I've
it?
seen it, yeah.
I keep seeing my friends.
Oh my God. It'll blow your mind. This
Yeah.
guy goes in the ocean every day, free diving with a snorkel, and he befriends an octopus. And it is the most incredible. You just go watch it tonight. That's your drill tonight. If you're
That's
not
your
having
homework.
my octopus teacher, I guarantee you the hairs will stand on your arms and you will just be, oh my God, it's amazing. It's incredible, beautifully shot.
Yep.
And it's incredible. Check that one out. So there you
One
go.
of
We're doing
Netflix's,
movie reviews
hit.
right now.
Well, exactly, from Scott Page. And now the girl,
There you go.
because they'll listen to you, Scott.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so Scott, the last time we talked to you, you and Mike Tanko were talking about what you had coming up in November.
Ooh, yeah, we're very excited. We're actually getting ready. Just so to give you a little overview for those that know, we've been really, when this whole thing hit, this was going to be our biggest year for our company, for Think Experience, and our band ThinkX. We had all these gigs lined up. We were going to Europe. We were putting up this big dome theater in Los Angeles. I mean, there was a lot, and it hit, and boom, completely done. So I got up the morning, remember getting coffee, saying, wow, that was interesting. Everything just stopped, right? Nothing. And I said, well, you know what? That's okay. I know that there's going to be incredible opportunities inside this chaos, right? So I flipped my thinking around, and we've been really working on what is the next live experience? What is the next entertainment experience, right? And especially for musicians, you can't sell music anymore. There's no place to sell music. You can stream, but it's very difficult to make any money on streaming because the numbers just don't make it for 95% of the people that are on Spotify that put product out there. So I started really thinking about it, since Think Experience was all about the experience. So I started saying, well, where is it going to go? What's going to happen now, right? So I started to realize that we're going to have live events, but they're going to be different kinds of live events. It's not going to be like masses of people getting together, at least for a while, where it's going to be sort of separate. Second of all, a lot of people I think will stay home, and they'll want an experience at home that they can have their friends and family, people, trusted sources can come and hang out. So I started thinking about where the live experience was going. Then the second thing I said, well, the cool thing is now we have live streaming, but the important part of live streaming is the two-way aspects of live streaming. The fact that we can communicate and talk like we're doing right now, right? We have that. Well, how does that get tied into the live experience? And then the third thing is, I can't hand you something right now, right? I can't give you this, but I can have a delivery service deliver you something. Right. So you can have something that could happen before the experience. So just like this, if you were doing special movie reviews and you had a sponsor, you might have shipped me some kind of wine or something, and we taste it together and talk about it, and we would have a physical experience tied to that. So I started really thinking even more about that. And we did a test run not too long ago. So we're launching basically livin.live, LIVN.live. And it's all based on this premise. We all want to get back to living, just living again. Forget all this other stuff. How do we get back to living? And living is really a combination of rocking, laughing, tasting, thinking, and giving. So that's our whole thing. So we're getting ready to do our pilot show, which we're going to do on November 23rd or 4th. I'm not sure exactly which of those 2 days we're going to do the show, but it's a live streaming interactive event where we have a whole live show. We've got a whole wine tasting piece that comes up to warm people up. We have a box that we're shipping to the people that are going to go out there. You're going to get one, Brian. You folks are going to get one. You get a box, and it's got a whole bunch of cool things in it. It's got cool wine for the tasting. We've got special coffees coming in, but we also have a bunch of interactive things, which I don't want to give it all away, because that's kind of the fun part of it. So the box becomes part of the opening, which becomes part of the show. So we're getting ready to launch this. And what we're also doing is we're broadcasting it to other locations where events are being held. So it'll be on the screen. Now, the kind of the cool part is because now we can bring our virtual friends. So our event is really tied where the band and the whole stuff is, but we're completely surrounded with screens, and the whole audience, the people that are kind of the premium sisters, are brought into the audience. So the folks that can come to the live show, can bring 5 of their friends through virtually, and they'll be there with them up on the screens and actually part of the show. So it's the whole idea of really creating this interactive experience. Because I always figured people loved, Super Bowl parties. So they'll have a party around an event. So our idea is to basically create an event that people want to come to, make it interactive. We got a set of premium services, because so many people can be fan in stream. They can be part of the actual show, and other people can then just also watch. So there's a whole interactive component. We're bringing people in from, all over the world. We have an incredible, the Think Band, which is Steve Perkins from Jane's Addiction, and Kenny Olson from Kid Rock's band, and Nord Fisher from Fishbone, and a whole bunch of the other guys, great players. And we have a guest host. I'm not going to tell you who yet, which is going to be cool. So think of our show kind of a combination of Saturday Night Live meets the morning show meets Playboy After Dark, right? So it's a kind of an interesting combination. The idea is it's a 3-hour experience that you can throw a hang at your party. You can join in, you can jump out. It's just kind of a new way. So we're getting ready to do our pilot program. Very excited about that. And we're working on it like crazy right now, as you can imagine, as we get to be about 6 weeks out.
Jessica, do you like that?
And you guys are all going to be part of
Exciting.
it. So you got to put down, you're going to get a note to be there, because you guys got to be part of it. Because I want to bring you into the show and make
Can't wait.
everybody, make it a real cool, fun thing for everybody.
Yes, please. I
Yes.
love that. So Scott, in reference to your of you referencing kids who are just like this all
Yep.
the time, they don't see what's happening in real time, in real life,
Mhm.
as you say. And you, for those of you who don't know yet, which you should, but if you don't, I'll let you know. He produced the world's first interactive musical cartoon. I'm not sure what year it was, called
That's
Toonland,
right, Toonland.
years ago, like part of the award-winning CD-ROM
Yeah.
game. So that was my second passion besides music is children.
Mm.
So I have a heart for that. I have a heart for them to learn and be introduced to how important music is,
Mhm.
and how interactive it can become, and how it brings people together that you wouldn't normally think would be friends or be together and communicate. So with all of the things going on with Think Experience, have you considered any kind of children something moving forward and trying to reach out to them in this day compared to what was going on
Right
before?
now, with where we are with the company, because my company, Seventh Level, we were an education CD-ROM company. So we built CD-ROMs, and that's actually probably one of the things I'm most proud of that I've ever done was that particular thing, because it was so groundbreaking at the time, and having to deal with technologies that didn't have much power. We were dealing on 386, 25 megahertz Windows machines with 4 mega RAM. I mean, this thing is like 1,000 times more powerful.
You had a crank. You
It
were
was like a
actually
crank, right? And so there was all these boxes, limitations that we had that put you in a box to figure out how you could actually make animation and stuff work on a computer that really didn't have this stuff. But yeah, so, I've been focused, that was a whole educational company. We built Kids World and a whole bunch of things. And this particular thing right now, we're more about, I believe that Think is really a company that's a give forward company. I think the concept of giving back is not going to work anymore. We have to give forward, because what we're about to see from this lockdown, and we haven't even seen, so many of us that are lucky enough to be in I'll say the Zoom class, right? We get to live here, right? But if you think about that other tier of people, the kids and all those people that aren't going to school and don't have anything, I mean, it's going to get rough. So we're really about the concept of a we first model with our company. We give back. So one of the things that we've been doing that we're working on as part of Think is we're Flea from the Chili Peppers and Norwood Fisher, who plays in my band, along with David Moss. We had been working with them on building a music school in Watts for the kids there.
Wow.
Awesome.
And right in the middle of it all, when all this COVID stuff hit, the whole idea is to really put the creative arts of music and stuff in the hands of the kids that don't get access to this stuff, right? They just don't get access. So that's kind of where we've been at right now, and just encouraging other people to get involved. So we're on the children's side, not so much on the education in the sense of like educational learning programs or things like that might be interactive online, but really more about how we can support the community and build things for the kids. And so we're very excited about that. We hope to be able to get back to that here pretty quick again, so we can actually make it really happen. But we were working out of Markham Middle School. We would go there. All of us would play. I mean, the Chili Peppers came and did a concert for the kids, and it's really cool. So it's actually a lot of fun. It's very rewarding. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than giving, right? The more you give, the more you get. It's just a fundamental fact of life. And,
Well,
you know,
and speaking of that, you am I pretty sure that you did a duet with another one of our friends of our show, Gabe, on his
Gabe!
on
I saw they asked me, she says, oh, would you do an interview with Gabe for his school? I said, sure, Eileen, of course, anything for you, Eileen, anything, right? So she said, well, Gabe, her grandson, I guess it is, that was said he was going to do an interview. I said, okay, great, we're going to do this for the class of the school. The kid was fantastic, incredible questions. He was so good and so natural. Did you notice? Did you see how he was so natural?
I loved it, and he was so professional. And you gave
Oh.
your answer, and he'd say, "Interesting." So,
Yeah.
and then he would just go right into the next thing, just like class. So
I
classy.
know. I was like, oh, what am I going to say? I don't know. But he was great. That kid's got a future.
Yeah.
Under
and,
something.
and I would
Yeah.
encourage anyone who hasn't seen that interview yet, please go watch that, because I found out some really great information. It was very interesting, and it was it was very endearing and just pleasant to watch. And thank you for doing that. And
thank you.
and
No, it was great.
yeah,
Probably one of the
providing
more-
that opportunity for him and his classmates to experience
was-
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
So it was fun.
Yeah, it really was.
Yes.
Hey,
So,
Scott,
so does he work? Does he do show? He comes on your show, right? He does some
Yeah, he's been
segments.
on
with you?
twice.
He's been on
Yeah.
twice.
He's been on twice. We want to always utilize him from that kid's point of view. I always want.
Oh yeah. Fantastic. And Brian, you're a great mentor from him. I mean, first of all, Brian, I'm going to give a little shout out to this guy. Dude, you are incredible, man. You're like a machine of just keeping things moving all the time. I was just like, you're not thinking about scripts. Hey, everybody, here we are, blah, blah, blah. You just you're great at interviewing. Really, really good.
It's from doing all those junket interviews. But here's the good things today, Scott. Scott, it's 30 straight weeks that we've been doing for Movie Reviews and More on Zoom. It's 7 months, and you are the 200th episode this show.
Is this the 200?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
100.
Yep. We
I can't
started.
believe that we've done so many shows.
I
That's
don't
a
think
commitment.
I don't think anybody's beat us in the world, because I've been looking. No, we started at April 2nd. We've been doing 2, 3, sometimes 5. Today it was 3 shows, and they were all good. I had David Perez on from Omega International,
Mhm.
and then Trixie and Nathasha and I were talking about how she put everything together, and that we had to include Jessica because that's most important. We can't leave out Miss Buttercup,
Not Miss
Hey,
Buttercup.
Scott, you didn't know that she's a model, so she
Oh, I couldn't tell.
all these pageants in Tennessee. So
I couldn't tell. No, I couldn't
Miss
imagine. How could you
Buttercup
ever
is
be
not a
model?
real title. That was a Brian Sebastian specialty, but I'm not going to say that I haven't had some pretty crazy titles. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
This is pretty wild, isn't it? Think about it right now. We're actually being able to go direct to consumer, build a business around, and you've got this tool sets, the cost. I mean, this is, I truly believe for me right now, I look at what's going on. This is probably the greatest time as an entrepreneur that I've ever seen. This is my 4th company. So I've been doing this a long time, and I don't think I've ever seen any more opportunities. And there's so many problems to solve and things to do. And just this ability to be able to start these streams and be in the business. I mean, we got more horsepower than NBC had 10 years ago. When you start
exactly,
thinking about it.
and the numbers are up. I noticed when we had John Steinfeld on, and I was looking at ABC's numbers. They had 5.5 million views to his documentary, and it was one of those things where that we were hitting higher numbers in one day that they had hit in like 2 hours, and that told me
Yeah.
a big deal at that point.
Wow.
No, it's crazy. I mean, when you look at some of these podcast numbers people are getting, they're just blowing away television shows like
Absolutely.
TV, traditional TV.
Mhm.
We're moving into this whole new world of what I'll call we're moving into the niches. The riches are in the niches. We're moving into hives, right? That's why you saw all those companies start groups, like Facebook started the group thing, because people are now they want to go to their like-minded friends. They're centering
More
around
relatable.
specific topics and things. And that's really where the new business model is. That's like with Living. We're not saying we're trying to get out to millions of people like the old traditional broadcast model. My business model says by the end of next year, I need a consistent 6,000 people a show, and I'm rocking. right? And it's like, it's crazy. I mean, the numbers are just extraordinary. So it's really about going after those niche markets now and creating that value proposition for them. And, the other part that's really interesting is everything is now moving into, you can tie your shows to the commerce side of it. Launches there turns anybody into a home shopping network, right? So now you can start having products that you can sell. You got shipping, you got stuff that can happen. So it's a whole different world. So I think as a direct to consumer is really the game. And what's interesting is Kevin Kelly years ago from Wired magazine coined the term 1,000 true fans. And a true fan is somebody that'll spend $100 a year on whatever you have to bring. Well, 1,000 people, that's $100,000 in revenue, right? So the new model is create a repeatable process, go small, build a repeatable process you can scale and then scale up. You get 5,000 people, consistent paying you that $8 or $10 a month kind of thing. You're making $500,000 a year. And, the cost of this stuff is so much cheaper now, right? And so there's so many opportunities and revenue models that are very interesting right now.
When you think about it, the overhead's gone.
Overhead's gone. I mean, listen, we're not going to, this pandemic basically pushed technology that we thought where we are right now is as a technologist, we said, oh, that's probably where we'll be in about 5 years.
Yep.
This just went, it just shoved everybody into a home model. They're living on Zooms. I mean, it's like I'm setting up my spot. I just bought, well, I don't have it here, I bought my switcher so I can put my 4 cameras in and have my whole situation because that's how we're going to live right now. That's how we're going to do business. And I'm noticing that, right now I'm busier than I've ever been because I can do, the time I would get in the car, drive to the west side, I got an hour, then I got to do an hour meeting. I spent a half a day to go do a 1 hour, get 2 meetings in a day. I can do boom. I'm knocking them out here like this all day long. So I'm actually getting a lot of work. And you're also seeing, all the major, Google, all the, Twitter, all of them are saying people work at home. So it's basically reshaping and defining how we do business, how we work. One of the areas I'm really wondering about is how New York's going to be. I don't know if it's ever going to come back to the same thing anymore because we had all those offices and people, and now a lot of those people are staying home. They're moving around.
They're not going back into those buildings because it's less expensive. Disney is 50 billion in the hole, Scott, as of last Thursday. They're getting out of that. It doesn't happen. And like I said, we still have a stock market crash coming. And I've been watching all this stuff for the last 2 years. This has been Movie Reviews and More's most successful year, believe it or not. When the girls start having their numbers, and this Friday, I'm going to start adding their numbers up again. I couldn't be happier for what's about to happen with all the stuff that we're doing. I know exactly where we're going, and I know those bigger companies, which ones are coming in, because I've been talking to them. And it is about the technology. Right. And I go back to you being one of the founders of Metal, and I think of what Ken was doing. In my mind, I've already passed what Metal started, because there have been those people who will go on to
right.
Just a matter, like I said, we'll have 10 million views a day between now and the end of the year. And I can see it coming. And by April 2nd of next year, we'll have 20 to 25 million views. And so, Terry, we are 7 days away from 1 million views on Flex 24. It's at 9. That's awesome. 3 right now.
You know what I was just thinking? If Jessica is Miss Buttercup, I'm Miss Bikini America LA, and then you got Maxim over there in Canada. So Brian, did you ever think about that?
Dude, now I see why you're getting those views, Brian. I mean, it's very simple. I get it. I
was just thinking about that. He's got Miss Bikini America, he's got Buttercup, and he's got a Maxim girl there. Yeah, Brian, you're doing well.
Dude, you're my hero.
Hey, that's the one reason why we were setting up certain spots in different areas of the country. Because Scott, now you to that studio. I don't want everybody to go to the studio. I only want certain people in. I want to get Jessica in. I hope by the end of November, depending when you guys decide what date to do your stuff, because I want to help push what you guys are doing, because we got 2 or 3 virtual workshops coming. So that gives us the opportunity to talk about what you guys are creating.
No, it's great. And again, our whole model is I want to bring it in. It's like a shared, it's a shared live virtual event. So we want to bring in all of the influencers, the people, and figure out how we can leverage each other. Right. Because if we can do that, it's a beautiful thing, because there's so many opportunities. And so how do we, you're helping us, we're helping you. It's that model, right? It's a we kind of together working on things. And I think that's really the opportunity right now.
Don't you think, Scott? I mean, because I was thinking about this other day, like people need to look at the silver lining of this pandemic, because there's been so many opportunities open to people that they didn't have before. And, the key to life is you just have to kind of like, I don't know, sometimes change directions. You got to go, okay, this is not working. I got to go in this direction.
Pivot.
And be successful.
Big time. Big time. I mean, that's really the whole idea is pivoting. That's like when I woke up that morning, got my thing, and I said, we're done. This is it. We're zero revenue. Everything stopped. Where we're going to go. So I just said, does it really matter? I mean, because here's the truth of the matter is, and I always say this at every one of these, and I'm sure I've said it on every show. The only thing real is us four talking right now.
Yep.
Everything else is an illusion. Everything. There's no way. 2 minutes ago, can't touch it, can't change it, can't see it. I can kind of remember it, but that's all I can do. It's an illusion in my head. It's a memory. It's whatever. 2 minutes from now, what's going to happen? So even though I lost everything from what I believe because I was seeing, but I don't know what would have happened. I might have went when we went to Jazz Fest. I could have fallen down and cracked my head for all I know at that time. Who knows what could happen? So I just figured it doesn't matter. I'm here drinking my coffee right now. This is real. Everything's okay. Still going. So I'm just going to go figure out what the next step is,
Well,
So
like your rock and talk show, right? That started because of being stuck at home.
Yeah.
And yeah,
that's it. So opportunities, and people need to realize we got power now with this thing in the palm of our hands, man. It's like crazy. Twitter, 24-hour cocktail party. You can build audience, because remember, whoever owns the audience wins. It's not about anything else. If you have audience and you own the audience, you win, period. That's it. You don't need anybody else. I don't need this is my bank. I can take the order. I can find people. I can say, start a broadcast worldwide at any moment. Think about that. I mean, this is mind boggling. And now with 5G coming on, you're about to see this thing ramp up like you can't even believe. I mean, 5G is such a game changer in so many ways. It's because everything's about we're going in the world where it's all about real time. Everything is real time. 5G will real time things up like you can't even believe. It's going to be just moving things around. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, I don't know what the 5G, all the frequencies are going to do to our bodies, but
it won't be good for our cell phones. It won't be good. I can tell you that.
I know that was a little sketchy, but you know what? What are you going to do? I mean, that's one of the things that's been so interesting. 5G towers are going up like crazy through this whole.
So Scott,
nobody's
this
talking
is where
about
it gets into the Dreamweaver Artist Ranch. The reason why we're building up so high enough up, so we are not affected by anything by that. That's why. And the reason why we like
the 5G
Artist Ranch, so performers like you and Jessica can come to our ranch and perform, and you don't have to worry about anything, because we will be showcasing those brands like Ellipto. We'll be having those things like Miss Buttercup coming in and having her one-woman show. I'm working at it in my head, and it's going to happen. Yes, she's going to have her own one-woman show, and I'm sure it happens.
Yeah, right. What about the fitness? We need to do some fitness stuff up there.
Oh yeah, but wait a minute, but you have to get more. Terry, you got to get more fit. Your problem is you're just not fit enough.
Thanks.
I've been to your Instagram page, girl. I've seen how fit you are.
Terry, you can go up. You and Sherry can get up there and model and bring some other people in and do some things, and I'll just provide the music for you. We'll just do I'll do some ambient music for you, and then we'll have a show.
All right, we got about Scott, give me social media.
I was really curious.
Okay, go, Jessica, go ahead. Get your question again.
So the one thing that I was very curious about that you mentioned, and I thought, what? And it kind of goes along with the frequency and how we get affected. How in the world, I mean, obviously it can be done, but my mind doesn't really comprehend having shoes that turn you into speakers.
Oh yeah, I'm saying there's all kinds of new technologies coming out. We were going to get ready to experiment with a company. A friend of mine's a venture capitalist, and he said to me, he came to our Dome show because we played. He knew I was doing immersive things. He came to our Dome show and he says, "Dude, you got to check out these shoes. We got a company. We just put $10 million in. You put the shoes on and it turns you into a speaker. Right. And he says, when the way you feel the music and the way you hear the music and the way that people interact, he says, you will never listen to anything music again in a different way. Now, unfortunately, I never got to hear them or experience it because we were going to do it for our show because everything got canceled. But that's the kinds of technologies now that are coming out. So it's fascinating. And again, I think experienced based entertainment is really the future, right? It's really where it's going, because we know, again, I'm a business model guy, because again, it's if you're doing it and you're having fun and you're not making any money, it's a great hobby, right? But my whole thing is like, how do you make money? I mean, how do you create revenue, right? Because that's really important. Then it's a business. If it's a business, you got to generate revenue. And that's why we were experimenting so much in the immersive space. And we were finding out, I mean, we were averaging about $80 a ticket for the dome shows, which was great. We were getting up to $300 a ticket for these beds that people used to lay down in and watch our show with the 360 degrees plugged into the music. And it wasn't just like a vibrating bed. It did all this weird stuff, but people loved that. And those tickets sold like that, right? They just wanted it. So there is, people will pay for an experience. You're seeing that with these pop-ups, like, the Museum of Ice Cream. Right.
And
That
with
was
that,
crazy.
Scott, I'm going to interrupt you because we're going to have a cold ending. Give your social media link real quick. You got about 10 seconds.
Everything is IAM Scott Page. And if you want to look up Think, just go Think EXP. Google that into Google and you'll see the stuff. You see our dome shows, see about the stuff. And there you go.
And I want to thank everybody. This is Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week. And